Today on the spot, we got double the demos with Magicka on the PC and ModNation Racers on the PlayStation 3. Keeping with the PlayStation theme, we take a look back at our favorite moments from the God of War franchise, and we get caught up on the latest this week on PlayStation Network. The legendary Marco Martinez delivers another This Week on PC, and we sit down with Dan Marchant from Straw Dog Studios and talk Space Ark on the Xbox 360. Stay tuned and win the biggest poster ever! Today on the spot.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Today on the Spot. I'm Brian Eckberg. This is Chris Waters. Chris, we got a lot to get to.
As you heard.
Yeah, we got a lot to show today. But you got something special.
Oh, I got something under the desk here, but give him a preview over there.
Give him a preview. I want to show you the container our trivia giveaway comes in. This is for Brink. This is the first-person shooter from Bethesda and Splash Damage. They have this massive poster, and I literally mean massive. It's huge.
Now, I want to warn you folks at home, we're going to unveil this. This thing is monstrous. It starts off a little freaky, but it gets way cooler.
See, that's bad.
All right, that's the weird part. We don't like that. But now, here we go.
Scary. He looks like a wrestler.
Keep it going.
TNA wrestler.
Yep. Scooch back a little. Oh, no, wait, we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
God, like this just panorama of destruction, almost all the way.
There you go.
Boom.
There's the Brink poster.
Like that thing? Look at this.
It's huge. Chris, this poster is so big, it's sagging in the middle like so many of my actual personal parts. Anyway, guys, you have a chance to win this poster if you've got a wall big enough. But first, that's later in the show. Let's hear from Tor Thorson and find out what's happening in the industry.
Hey everybody, it's your GameSpot news update for Saturday, March 6th. I'm Tor Thorson. To anyone who has been following Valve Software's viral marketing campaign Inside Portal, the announcement of Portal 2 should come as no surprise. Today, the suburban Seattle studio made it official. The sequel will arrive this holiday for the PC via the company's Steam service and, presumably, as a boxed retail product. No other platforms were mentioned. The original Portal drew high critical praise for its mind-bending style of gameplay, which had players traverse interdimensional openings on ceilings, walls, and floors to navigate a deadly research facility. And despite winning 70 accolades, including top honors at the 2008 Game Developers' Choice Awards, the game was only 3 to 4 hours long. Not so the sequel, apparently. GameStop-owned magazine Game Informer reports the game will be a full-fledged standalone sequel with new gameplay mechanics, storyline, and some surprising new twists. One of those twists will be that the sequel will have a multiplayer co-op mode, which will allow for hours of deadly trapdoor Portal pranking. The announcement that a full-fledged standalone Portal sequel is coming this holiday casts further doubt that Half-Life 2 Episode 3 will arrive in 2010. After being teased in October 2008, the game has vanished from view, with some recent rumors postulating that Valve may turn the episode into a full-fledged sequel, which could be years away. So better keep those crowbars on ice, everybody. Actually, don't do that. That'd make them rust. Well, that's it, your GameSpot news update for Saturday, March 6th. For more headlines, head on over to news.gamespot.com.
All right, as you guys know, God of War 3 is coming for PlayStation 3 very soon, and recently our features editor, Giancarlo Veronini, put together a little video showcasing some of the best moments from the previous God of War games. Check it out.
Get them away from
God of War fans, get ready. With the release of God of War 3 coming March 16th, we're taking a look back at some of our favorite moments from both the original God of War and God of War 2. So without further ado, here they are in no particular order. First up, one of Kratos' first and most intense fights in the original God of War, the battle with the Hydra. This boss battle not only sets the stage for those that would follow, but it also gave us a window onto Kratos' sheer brutality when he takes the final head of the Hydra and plunges it onto the mast of a ship.
Come back to bed, Kratos.
We're finished. Be gone when I return.
Next, we have one of the most controversial moments in the entire series. This minigame, if you want to call it that, sparked a debate on sexuality in games that's still going strong to this day.
Burn this village! Burn it to the ground!
Just why is Kratos so angry at the world? This next scene gives us the answers. Kratos marches into a temple and kills everyone inside, including his own wife and child. But as it turns out, it was a plot orchestrated by the actual God of War, Ares.
In that instant, the glory he had reveled in turned to horror.
In our next favorite moment from God of War, Kratos retrieves Pandora's box, the weapon that lets him grow to Godzilla-like proportions to fight Ares himself. Kratos finally pays back the God of War with a 50-foot-long sword stab to the face. On to God of War 2 and one of our favorite scenes from that game, the battle with the massive Colossus of Rhodes. On his journey to reach the Sisters of Fate, Kratos takes to the skies with Pegasus, the famed winged horse of Greek mythology. And yet again, we get to see just how awesome Kratos is as he leaps from creature to creature, snapping their necks in mid-flight. Another favorite moment from God of War 2 pits Kratos against Perseus, who also happens to be voiced by Harry Hamlin, the same man who portrayed Perseus in the original Clash of the Titans film. Kratos runs into a number of other famous names from Greek mythology throughout God of War 2, but few are as brutally hilarious as his encounter with Theseus, where, by the end of the fight, Kratos takes Theseus' head and slams the temple doors onto it repeatedly. Next, we have Kratos' meeting with Icarus, the man who flew too close to the sun with his wings made of wax. Naturally, Kratos sees Icarus' wings as an opportunity to get further in his quest, and as a result, bad things are about to happen to poor, crazy Icarus. And the final favorite moment from God of War 1 and 2 is a final confrontation between Kratos and a ghost from his past, the barbarian king who nearly defeated Kratos. But with Ares' help, the ghost of Sparta defeated the barbarian armies and lopped off the king's head for good measure. That's our look at some of the best moments from God of War 1 and 2. Stay tuned to GameSpot.com for more on these games as well as the upcoming release of God of War 3.
This time, Ghost of...
There you go, there's some of the best moments from the God of War franchise, with many more to come, certainly in God of War 3. We also have a franchise player, Chris Waters.
That's right, one of the angriest men in all of video gaming, Kratos. There's a look at him and his exploits in the franchise player feature. Check that out. But now we're on to This Week on PlayStation Network.
This week on PlayStation Network starts off with plenty of demos to keep you busy. First up is the over-the-top, parachute and grapple hook crazed action game Just Cause 2. Jump off cliffs, hijack a helicopter in midair, blast through military compounds, or just cause mayhem in this open-world shooter. If you'd rather be a little more grounded on Earth, then why not check out the demo for Major League Baseball 2K10. This demo will put you straight into a quick match and starts off with some pitching. The new game mechanics will have you select your pitch type first, so you just need to get the gesture timing right. Also out is the demo for MotoGP 0910, which lets you test ride all 3 bike classes and try out 3 game modes. If you're a fan of motorcycle sims, you won't want to miss this demo. Moving on to downloadable games, Penny Arcade fans can now get episodes 1 and 2 of the RPG adventure series Penny Arcade Adventures on the Rain-Slick Precipice of Darkness. Fans of the webcomic will definitely appreciate the game's style and humor. This download is a pack of both games and is available for $14.99. In the game add-ons section, there's a trio of content for MLB 10 The Show. You can get 6 classic stadiums for $9.99. You can also make your team better by getting 1,000 Road to the Show training points for 99 cents. Or if you just want to directly trade real money for fake money, 99 cents will increase your franchise funds by 20 million. If nothing for something isn't your style, then Dragon Ball Raging Blast has the free Ultimate Warriors pack, and Dynasty Warriors Strike Force has the free Quest pack. Also check out the Dante's Inferno Dark Forest pack, which gives you a new prequel level, costume, and relic. Or the Relics Triple Pack, which, as the name implies, gives you 3 new relics. These packs are available for $4.99 and $2.99 respectively. There's also new content for Resident Evil 5, with a costume pack for $1.99 and the second installment of new playable content in Desperate Escape for $4.99. This add-on covers the story of Jill's escape and gives you new characters in the Mercenaries Reunion. Finally, in the videos section, you'll find trailers for God of War 3, Uncharted 2 videos showing off multiplayer maps and new Sony character skins for multiplayer, 2 Dante's Inferno developer diaries, a trailer for Fallout New Vegas, a launch trailer for BioShock 2, and the launch trailer for Vancouver 2010 Winter Olympics. Finally, if you've been watching The Tester, Episode 3 is now out for download. That's all we have time for this week. Check back every Saturday as we bring you the latest this week on PlayStation Network.
Well, there you go. Now you're caught up with what's happening on the PlayStation Network this week. Now it's time for our first demo of the day. It's Magicka, a rich fantasy world, Norse mythology, and it's on the PC. Check it out.
Hey everyone, and welcome to today's daily demo. I am joined by Johan Pilestedt from Arrowhead Studios, coming all the way from Sweden. Welcome.
Thank you.
So you're here showing us Magicka on the PC.
Yeah.
So tell us, what is the game about?
Magicka is a fantasy action adventure game, which we started developing it with couch co-op in mind. Mm-hmm. That's really an area we haven't really seen a lot of hardcore action games in. Except like Castle Crashers and Castle Crashers, Guitar Hero is also a good example of those sort of games where you can sit down with a couple of friends and just enjoy a game. Yeah. And that's what made us make Magicka. And of course there are a lot of fantasy games going on, so we wanted to do something different with it, and that's where we came up with the spellcasting system.
All right, let's just jump in and take a look.
Yeah. So here's Emil. Playing the wizard, visiting the first village in Magicka.
So what is the world? Like, what's the premise of the story?
The premise of the story is that a Dark Lord, enchained by the Wizard Order at the far north, is starting to wreak havoc in the world. Or well, you don't know that. The world is just in peril, and nobody knows what's going on. But of course, it's the Dark Lord.
Yeah.
Here, Emil is defending a village against an attack from a goblin horde.
Some serious fireballs going on.
Yeah. During gameplay, you can freely combine spells. For example, Emil is now combining an earth projectile with an arcane force, and that creates a really powerful blast projectile. Mm-hmm. And during gameplay he can combine spells freely, for example using a fire spell to defeat that goblin bomber, or push his bombs back towards him. Mm-hmm. They're really dangerous, and as he carries a bag of bombs on his back, he will explode when set on fire.
Oh, so you can go combine different elements and just like come up with different kind of projectiles and spells?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So we have these 8 elements, which are life, cold, lightning, arcane, shield, water, and earth. I think that's all of them. Yeah, you can see them. And all of these have different abilities. For example, the water soaks an enemy, mm-hmm. making it more vulnerable to lightning and cold. Lightning and cold. For example, casting a cold spell on a wet goblin will freeze it. Mm-hmm. So you have to really think about which spells to use. And there are enemies later in the game which are either resistant or absorbs the power of the spell. So for example, using a fire blast against a fire elemental is a bad idea, because it will only grow stronger and more powerful. So you have to think about which elements to use.
So how's the gameplay set up, like in terms of like campaigns? And you mentioned co-op before.
Yeah, co-op is one of the greatest parts of the game. Of course, it can be played in single player, as shown now. But during the game, you travel from the south to the north through a campaign, which is a level-based system. So you have these clear areas. Like now you're in Mountaindale, which is this level. It's a real lush environment, lots of classical fantasy forest going on.
Yeah, it looks good. We see a big ogre.
Yeah, it's a forest troll, accompanied with a goblin wearing a hat. and yeah.
So about items and stuff, are you picking up items along the way, like any weapons?
Yeah, there are items in the game, though we don't use them as...
Oof.
He's in big trouble now. The items are not... You don't collect items and choose in an inventory which item you're going to use. Instead, you use them more like power-ups. Mm-hmm. So if you find a sword that has a fire effect, you can use that for as long as you live, and when you die, you lose it.
Okay.
But it's still there, so if a friend revives you, which is a quite easy thing to do using the magics,
yeah.
I'll explain those later, you can just pick up the weapon again. Though if if a friend of yours has this, the teleport staff, and you really, really want it, well, there's nothing preventing you from just accidentally throwing a fireball in his head.
Oh, so friendly fire is always on.
Friendly fire is always on, and that makes up for some seriously hilarious situations. If you're not a coordinated team, you will get separated, and you will start throwing spells in a crossfire and hitting the people on the other side of the crowd, and those are usually your friends. Or you could accidentally kill people that would help you. So yeah, you're a powerful wizard, and with powerful wizard comes great responsibility.
Nice, looking forward to it. So when does this game come out and what platform?
It's multi-platform. We're looking into its developer format, multi-platform, and it's coming out in Q3, Q4.
All right, great. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and showing us the game.
Yeah, thank you.
And that was our look at Magicka on the PC. Now on with the show.
All right, folks, now we come to my favorite segment of the week. It's This Week on PC, starring Marco Martinez.
Marco Martinez.
Now, you've heard some of the facts behind him, but we actually have some more provable facts about Marco Martinez.
Science has verified these things.
Marco Martinez once pitched a perfect game in Madden NFL 10.
It's improbable.
Yeah, it's nearly impossible.
And like when he's not acing games, he's the head of our PC downloads hub. He's got it all there. When you download something from GameSpot.com, Marco actually beams it to your computer directly using his mind powers.
He knows how to get you stuff. And
that dude has a huge bandwidth.
And he's got a big head. It's time to hear from Marco Martinez and This Week on PC.
This week on PC, we have indie games Nightly in the Dark Forest, bounty games, and your patches of the week. Nightly in the Dark Forest is a side-scrolling shooter where you play as a knight set out to rescue a damsel in distress. The game offers one level and a short tutorial. The soundtrack has a familiar arcade NES style, which adds another great layer to the short game. Nightly in the Dark Forest is in demo form, but will let you know as soon as full build is ready. Bounty Arms is an indie 3D side-scrolling action game that uses the latest Unreal development kit. The graphics are amazing for an indie game, and the demo is challenging. You battle flying and running robots with such weapons as a bazooka, a big pair of scissors, and a sucker punch gun. As soon as you run around the demo, you collect coins that in future builds will allow you to upgrade your character. The game is meant to be played as a co-op 4-player battle, but the demo is only in single player. We'll let you know when a full build is available. Now for your patch of the week. BioShock 2 has released patch version 1.002, which addresses the widescreen and mouse one-button multiplayer issues, which were not addressed in the previous patch. Read the README for all details. I'm Marco Martinez, and that's it for This Week on PC.
Well, there you go. There's your look at what's happening on PC this week with Marco Martinez, a man who once punched the sun because it looked at him funny, and that's why we have nighttime.
The sun's not the only one that's mad at him, though. The whole country of Ireland is super pissed at him because they didn't make the World Cup. It's because Marco qualified.
That's right. He's going to be in that group.
One-man team. That is going to be a deadly group.
That's a deadly group. I wouldn't want to be in it. Anyway, guys, it's time for another demo. This is ModNation Racers for PS3. Let's check it out. Hey everyone, it's time for our daily demo. We're taking a look at ModNation Racers. I've got Dan Sojin from United Front Games, and we're looking at ModNation. This game's almost out, right?
It's almost out. We're getting down to the kind of final few months, and optimizations, tuning, polishing, it's coming along really well.
All that fun stuff, but this game is a lot about customization. So far we've seen that you can create your own carts, you can create your own characters, but we haven't seen much of the track creators, so that's something we want to take a look at today, right?
Yeah, I'm going to show you some really exciting kind of cool features. I'm just going to do something quickly, but you get a sense of you have hours to spend, how much more you could kind of take this into fine detail.
And you guys sort of took a different approach with how you create tracks. It's not just piecing things together, it's sort of a new approach to it, right?
Yeah, we call it drive to create, and we kind of felt it was the most organic or fluid way of really building a track. There's nothing that feels better than sort of just driving, and it's basically laying the track out behind you.
Easy.
So, I'll start right away with that.
Okay.
So I just choose where I'm going to place my start line. I've got my trusty steamroller,
right,
and just start driving. And just using R2 for gas.
It's basically how you drive the cart, right?
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah, and just left and right on the analog stick makes some fun kind of turns. I can push up and down on the right analog stick to change my elevation.
And we should point out, before you lay the track, you also have options for sort of deforming the terrain even before you get to the track.
Yeah,
right?
you can choose to do that first, or you can choose to lay the track first. So I'll quickly auto-populate my track.
Okay.
And what that'll do is drop a bunch of scene props, so buildings, houses, trees along the side.
There you go.
As well, it'll put down boost pads, item pods, and it does so in a clever way so that it's not throwing a bunch of boost pads as you're about to come into a sharp turn. So there you go, you've got track already done, built, ready to go.
That took about 45 seconds. That's pretty amazing.
It's pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so now I can go in and start doing some fine tuning.
Mm-hmm.
I'll quickly adjust some of the terrain. It's really fun. It feels like you're playing in a big sandbox, and I'm grabbing just chunks of the land itself and pulling it up and deforming it and creating kind of a fun mountain range on this side. I'll drop it down over here and just start cutting away. And I'm in the jungle theme, so you get sort of this murky brown looking water. And yeah, you can incorporate that right into some of the gameplay and water right across a piece.
And then it instantly transforms into sort of a land bridge there, huh?
Yeah.
That is pretty fascinating.
I'll go in and just make some really quick edits. So I can go into something like the road styles. And I'll just take actually this section of track, where I want to blow it away, right here. And go over to the reset zone and select it.
Just paint across.
Paint across, and voila, it's gone. Do it a little bit more exaggerated. There we go, now I've got this big jump. Or I've got a big hole in the track, so I've got to quickly drop something down in here so people don't go flying into the water. So I can choose one of the launchers, take this, move it. You can see that it's showing exactly where I'm going to land.
Okay. And you can adjust that as well, right?
So I can go in, I'll place it just over here. And that's probably launching me maybe a little bit far right now. So once I've placed it, let's go and select it again. And I can bring up its properties, and I can choose exactly what the landing distance is going to be. So I can shorten it, and just bring it back to the very edge of the track there. And I can also, make it a little bit exciting, add some height. And while I'm doing that, might as well make it even more exciting. I'll add in one more prop.
Okay.
So in the list, I'll bring in the flaming hoop of death.
A requirement.
Yeah, of course. And I'll just raise this up, and you can still see sort of that yellow line, which indicates exactly sort of my trajectory. So I'll move back a little bit.
You want to go through the flaming.
Whoops, sorry about that. So we're lifting it back up. Once I've got it basically where I want it to, it's dropping down on me.
Maybe a little too high.
And then selecting it right about there looks pretty good. Place it, and I can quickly just go to test drive, give it a quick shot, and pick up the bit, get some speed, and see if I've lined it up properly. Oh, a little
left. That's okay.
So
that's what testing is for, Dan.
Exactly. So I can go back in and grab that same prop and just adjust the height a little bit.
And you can get as granular with this as you want, right?
Yes.
You can adjust individual trees.
Exactly. So I can go in and I can rotate, scale, adjust absolutely any prop. I think the only reason I'm having a hard time seeing it is because my eyes are a little bit old and tired, so I'm trying to see.
I'm with you.
See it from here. So I think this looks about right. I can place that, and again, I'll give it a quick test drive. And so with each of these sections, I can go in and I can change the road styles from cobblestone to concrete or pavement. There we go. Made the jump that time.
Nice. Shall we race this thing?
Let's do it.
Okay. And we're going to be doing a little split screen racing. You guys just announced split screen, is that correct?
Yep, we just announced 4-player split screen.
Okay. And online split screen as well, right?
And online 2-player split screen as well, which is pretty cool. So we're going to go over to tracks that we've created, and this is the one.
I believe that's it, yeah.
And we'll give it a go.
Okay. So what are our options? We saw a little bit of the option screen. What are the options there when you're loading up a track?
You can choose the number of laps.
Okay.
You can choose the difficulty. You can choose if the number of AI that are going to race against you.
Okay.
And you can also choose the just general sort of race speed.
So we're going to be racing against AI in this race as well?
On this one, actually, I don't know what I set it to.
Okay, we'll find out.
Blazing through the options.
How many online or AI drivers can you race against?
You can race up to 12 or 11 other racers.
Okay.
So in online, it's a 12-player race.
Okay, got it. Okay, well, I'm feeling pretty confident.
All right.
All right. You want to take us through the controls while we're
Sure.
loading?
So it's R2 for gas.
Got it.
X for drift.
Okay.
And while you're drifting, you can steer and counter steer to really, be able to maneuver those corners. Square shoots weapons. Mm-hmm. And circle brings up a shield, which is a great defensive mechanism in case someone's launched a weapon at you. And you can use the right analog stick while you're in air doing a big jump to rotate yourself and get bonus points for tricks.
Okay. All right, well that sounds simple enough.
With the start mechanism, you want to be holding the gas, R2, and hit L1 when you see it turn green.
Okay. Oh, I need to be drifting. The drifting is actually surprisingly fun in this game. It's hard to make drifting fun in my opinion, but you guys have nailed it so far. Oh, and I just jumped off the track. While I'm complimenting your drifting, I jumped off the track.
I was so busy accepting the compliment that apparently I wasn't paying attention either.
This is a nice little short track that you created, but you can make tracks that are significantly bigger than this, right?
Oh yeah, this was just something really quick for a demo, but you can create tracks that are 3 to 4 times this length with multiple different shortcuts and paths. There's really sort of no end to the possibilities. I made the flaming hoop that time.
Nice. And you guys recently had a sort of multiplayer beta come out, right?
Yeah, we had a couple of public betas come out, one in North America and one in Europe as well.
Did you? I would imagine you learned some important lessons out of that.
Yeah, we did. We got some fantastic feedback. There was a lot of things that we knew. The frame rate and load times weren't exactly where we needed them to be. Mm-hmm. Beat on my own track.
Second place on your own track.
Distracting me while having a conversation.
I'm asking you the tough questions, so you'll come in 7th.
But yeah, those are things that we were aware of, and often get tackled at the end of the development cycle. We made huge progress, and that's the main thing we're focusing on right now. We plan on shipping with minimal load times and a fantastic 30 frames per second.
Awesome. Well, the racing is fun, but I can't wait to see what the community comes up with in terms of creation. It's going to be crazy.
What we saw in public beta is just the tip of the iceberg. There's only about 15% of the total content, and we were blown away. There's no better feeling as a developer when within the first few days people build things that you didn't even think was possible with the system. People are just that creative.
Very cool. All right, Dan. Well, the final question, of course, is when is ModNation Racers coming out?
Very, very soon, so spring 2010.
All right, spring 2010. There's your look at ModNation Racers. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Now back to the rest of the show.
Hope you enjoyed that little bit of ModNation Racers. Up next, Brian's got an interview on a new Xbox Live Arcade game. Is that right?
That's right. It's called Space Ark. Xbox Live Arcade, as you said. It's basically Brick Breaker in space is the best way to
It's not like the place that we and 2 of every animal are going to end up in 30 years?
There are animals in this game, and you sort of use them to bounce them around and collect these. Forget it. Let's do the demo. Space Ark.
The backstory for Space Ark is that a group of planets have been damaged by a wandering black hole. The inhabitants can't live on them anymore. The Space Ark comes along with the Arkanauts on board to repair the planets, to terraform them, so that the inhabitants can then live on them again. Each of the planets has genetic material floating in the air above it in the form of crystals, and the Arkanauts have to collect it. I wanted to do something that had the simplicity of early arcade games, but with the depth that they had, the power-ups and the bonuses. So we drew a lot of inspiration from quite a wide range of games. Arkanoid is one of the key ones because you're bouncing an Arkanoid off a bounce pad into the air to collect stuff. But Rainbow Island, Puzzle Bobble, all those kinds of games were an inspiration to us. Crystals are quite simple. You're collecting crystals in order to complete the level, but to actually finish the level, you have to collect 3 or more crystals of the same color to form a combo. Those combos will then spawn lots and lots of bonus fruit in the game. Every good Japanese arcade game has bonus fruit, so we have lots of it. And if you collect the fruit, that will then multiply your high score. Plus, the levels are designed so that sometimes it's easy to collect the crystals, but sometimes it's more challenging. There's a strategic element to it. You may need, for example, to trigger a switch that will open up a wall to allow you access to the crystals, or you may need to switch off a fan that stops you getting to the crystals, or in certain cases some crystals will be in the foreground of a level and others will be in the background. By flicking the switch, you bring those background crystals forward, which allows you to then collect them. In addition to your Archanaut bouncing into the air to collect stuff, you can break open bricks which contain the power-ups. So you can collect, for example, a machine gun or a laser, which will allow you to shoot the crystals and the fruit, allowing you to collect them much more quickly. Other power-ups include a shield which coats the surface of the planet, so if you fail to catch your Archanaut and they hit the ground, they won't take any damage. Once you start your Archanaut bouncing, you need to keep catching him with the bounce pad. If he hits the ground, you lose the combos that you've already collected, which means you'll have a hard time finishing the level. You've got 3 gameplay modes. The first one is mission mode, where you start off with the first planet, and as you play through that planet, you then unlock each subsequent planet. The main aim of mission mode is to collect as many of the crystals, power-ups, bonuses as you can in order to get the maximum high score. Then there's time attack, where you're trying to clear the level as quickly as possible. You're just trying to grab the crystals as quickly as you can in order to get out the exit and stop the clock. On some levels, it may be strategically better for you to use power-ups, because some of the power-ups, like a machine gun, for example, will help you quickly clean the level and then go straight for the exit. And then the final mode is survival, where you're trying to clear a level before the clock counts down, and you need to clear the level by grabbing all the crystals. Multiplayer modes, we have 2-player split screen. It's local, it's not internet based, where you're playing versus another person. You've got split screen, so you each have your own bounce pad, your own Archanaut, but you're playing on the same playfield. You're trying to grab the same crystals the other player's grabbing, you're trying to grab the same fruit, the same power-ups, or more likely you're trying to grab their fruit that they've just generated. If one player grabs a load of crystals and leaves a piece of fruit behind, you can come along and steal that quickly. If one of the players hits the ground, the combos that they've collected, which will be towed behind them, they'll drop them, and if the other player's quick enough, they can sneak in and steal them off them. The way the multiplayer scoring works is that as you're playing the level, you're scoring points, but when you reach the end of the level, the score table totals up your points and then multiplies them. But there's also one final big bonus, which is whoever hits the exit and exits the level gets a massive bonus. So although your score may be better than the other person while you're playing the level, if they've been going around collecting all the fruit and they hit the exit before you, the chances are that when you hit that final score screen and you watch all the scores clocking up and multiplying, you're going to lose because they've done a better strategic job of playing the game than you have. The game's called Space Ark. It's for Xbox Live Arcade. Its ESRB rating is E for everyone. Price point we haven't announced yet, but release will be early spring 2010.
All right, folks, it's trivia time. I hope you've cleared a large place on a wall or hallway in your house, because we're giving away this massive Brink poster. You want this? Here's the question. What are the names of the 2 factions in Brink? You got the answer, you submit it using the module on the side of the page, or send us an email to onthespot@gamespot.com.
Rip down all those family photos because the Brink poster is going up. Chris, we had a great show.
It was a great show. We unfurled this thing, which was quite a challenge.
Yeah.
And just demos galore.
Demos galore, and man, next week is going to be insane.
Tell me about it, bro.
GDC is next week. We've got live shows. We've got all sorts of coverage coming up. Here's a look. Monday, we've got the God of War 3 review and a now playing for God of War 3, so if you're a fan of that game, you don't want to miss it on Monday. We'll also have coverage of the launch event for Final Fantasy 13 here in San Francisco. GDC kicks off on Tuesday. We'll have day 1 coverage, and that evening we'll have a look at EA Sports season opener, which we'll be checking out a whole bunch of sports games from the folks at EA Sports. On Wednesday, it's GDC Day 2. We've got coverage of a big Sony GDC event that night. You don't want to miss that. It's going to be huge. And Capcom's throwing a Super Street Fighter Club, which is a community event. They'll be showing off Super Street Fighter 4, another can't-miss event. Thursday is Day 3. We'll have our first live show today on the spot. We'll be covering all sorts of cool stuff that day. The GDC Awards are Thursday night. Don't want to miss that. Friday is Day 4, another live show. We'll have plenty of games for you guys to check out. And Saturday, of course, is the final day of GDC. So a full jam-packed week. Please come to GameSpot.com and check it all out.
That's one big calendar.
That's a lot of stuff going on, but it's GDC week, of course.
That's true. It's a big week. We also have the Final Fantasy 13 review up. Kevin Van Ord's video review. Folks, check it out. Big game.
And you don't want to miss all the God of War 3 coverage we've got coming up. GDC next week. No show on Tuesday, but we'll be back with live shows on Thursday and Friday. So, for Chris Waters, I'm Brian Eckberg. See you on Thursday with another live episode of Today on the Spot. See you then.
Also, all but confirms that Half-Life 2 Episode 3 will not arrive this year. Wait. Sorry.
Tune in next week for all our GDC coverage and the review and now playing for God of War 3.